Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, my name is Crystal Williams Foster, and on this channel we have different topics that we cover. We have our Money Making Mondays, we have our Wellness Wednesdays, and we have our Freestyle Fridays. The content that we post range from how to make money outside of your 9 to 5, user-generated content creation for our creators, and our faith-based content for those who are intentionally trying to deepen their relationship with God. And as you saw from the thumbnail, today we will be discussing my testimony. Mainly because I've had a video on TikTok that's went viral, or viral for me. Here it is. And you guys wanted to know one question in particular. So how do you walk away from income that is providing for your household? And I figured if I gave some context to where I came from and where I am now, it wouldn't explain how easy it's been, but it'll definitely explain how necessary it's been to trust Jesus 100% every day of my life. So let's dive into my testimony. So I figured I would start in the beginning just so you guys can get some context of everything, and then we'll do time jumps so that we can get into present day. So for those who haven't been following me on my social media pages, you might not know this, but I was born with crack cocaine in my system. I had so much drugs in my system, so much drugs in my system that the doctors gave me 7 days max to live. They said I would definitely die within the first week. They plugged me up to every tube and did everything they could do. And as it starts to get towards the end of the week, they said, okay, she might make it. But if she does, she will have severe health issues. And the end of the weeks come. It takes a couple of months, but I do get out of that hospital. I do make it out of the incubators. And I am taken home by my aunt. My aunt takes me home. And so I'm raised with my aunt for the first 6 years of my life. I know that my aunt is my aunt, even though she has her own child, even though I call her mom. I have siblings who are also being raised by another aunt. I see them from time to time. And eventually my mom goes to court. She gets clean from drugs. And she goes to court and she wins custody to get, I guess, all of us back. I have no idea any of this is going on. I don't think my 6-year-old brain could even have comprehended any of this, right? All I know is one day I'm playing outside in my aunt's backyard and she comes out and she tells me to get a bag and I'm going to go move with my mom. And I just was gone. She uprooted me from where I lived to her house. And I know most would say, well, this is amazing, right? You get to go live with your mom. And honestly, neither situation was great because my aunt always made it known that she did me a favor. I can remember being a burden per se to her. Looking back then, I thought that was love, but now as an adult, as much as she cared for me, she definitely let me know how hard it was for her taking me in. And then moving with my mom, I always say that my mom didn't get clean to become a mother, but more so it was as if she got clean to prove everybody wrong. Look what I did, right? I fought and got my kids back. But the idea of being a mom and all that it entailed, helping with homework, helping with tests, going to schools, putting me in sports. No, she wanted no parts of all those things. Like, there was no nurturing bone. It was just, I'm giving you a roof over your head. I'm providing you the necessities that you need. And she did that up until about the age 15. At that point, she made me get a job. And so I could provide for myself and buy myself the toiletries and my own food if I wanted to eat different food. And pay for the sports that I wanted to do. I couldn't do sports until I got a job so that I could pay for the uniforms and so forth. I took myself to and from school and practice. So I took the bus and the metro because there was no participation on her part to do anything motherly. So that's the kind of parent that I grew up with. My aunt eventually passed that was raising me up until 6. She died when I was 11, so it was just my mom. So I grew up with a lot of resentment. The most common thing I can tell you feeling as a child was just wanting to be wanted. It was a desire that just never went away. My mom didn't want me enough to not do drugs. My aunt didn't want me there. It was a burden. My mom, who now fought to get me back through the court system and get clean, doesn't really want to be a mother. My dad was still on drugs. So this was a constant feeling that I always felt growing up, is I just want to be wanted. And then also, I always ask God this question. I always have this question of, why did you save me? Like, not in the sense of Jesus dying on the cross, but in the sense of, I was supposed to die, or they said I wouldn't make it past 7 days. That's how much drugs was in my system. And yet you stepped in and you saved me. Why? And it was a constant question that drove me to where I'm at today. Those are the two things: the feeling, the emotion, and the question. And so I was raised in the Methodist church. My mom went to her own church. I went to my own church. When she did bring me into her house, even though I had 3 other siblings, I was the only one she told pretty much it's mandatory for you to go to church every Sunday. And so I decided to go to a church down the street from my house. I didn't want to go to church with her. Again, no maternal instincts. We had nothing in common. She was not someone I could even hold basic conversations with about what's going on in my child life, right? But I did have my older sister, so that definitely did help, who was like a second mom. And so, because we're 7 years apart. And so I would go to church, and I was Methodist, and I did that until I was 18. I went to church. I was there Sundays, Wednesdays, did all the youth camps and everything. But I'll be honest and tell you that going to the Methodist church, I would say, is where I got introduced to God, but it's not where I built a relationship with God. I went because I had to go. It was habitual. It was something you did. I knew that my mom, if I didn't go to church on Sundays, I couldn't go outside and play. So I had to go to church. You know, in a Black household, if you're too sick to go see God, you can't do nothing else, you know? So I made sure I was in church. But then I went off to college. And once I went off to college, I didn't go back to church. Like, I lived on the dorm. I'm not gonna go drive to the church. Like, that's too much to ask me, because there isn't a relationship between me and God at this point, right? So yeah, college happens and I start to spiral. Like, your girl is out here just wilding. I dibbled and dabbled in just promiscuous dating, sex before marriage. No drugs though, no drugs, because my mom did have a drug issue. Drinking and drugs was something that I've never been a fan of. Would definitely occasionally drink when I would go out with friends. I would have one, no more than 2 drinks. And that was it, and no drugs. It wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing, knowing that I have a mother who was addicted to it and a father. No, you couldn't pay me. So, just trying to fill that void of being wanted. I just want somebody to want me. And so here I am, going about it all the wrong ways on my college campus, trying to find love and find someone who wants me. I want to say my 20th birthday, I ended up on campus at church. And I'm just there and I'm like, God, what is this? Like, are you real? You know, I was going to church for 18 years. I don't know if you're really real. You know, on campus, I'm learning about being a Muslim and that this is a white religion, Christianity. And there's so much doubt that's just coming into my life and being planted into my life. And he's never answered that question on why did he save me? And I still want to be wanted. I had a friend at college. He was going to church. He was going to a Baptist church. And he said, hey, you know what, Crystal? I think you should come to church with me. I think you need to be in the Lord's presence, like at church. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I put him off for a very long time. Like, I'm not trying to go to nobody's church, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go. Like, eventually I get desperate. I have questions, okay? And I need answers. And I need this void to be filled. And I can't keep filling it with situationships and sex before marriage. There has to be another way to finally feel wanted. So I go to church with him. It was a Bible study. It was on a Wednesday night. And the pastor, he preached from Psalms 1:1. And I'm going to put that up here. But it says it for Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. And that was Psalms 1:1-3. So he preached from that, and it was an amazing sermon. Like, I was like, oh, he can really preach. Okay. But then at the end of the service, pretty much he says, anyone that wants me to lay hands on them, I want you to come up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, here we go. Mind you, remember, I grew up Methodist. So I'm thinking, oh my God, oh my God, this is about to be so fake. And I remember watching everybody go up to the altar that wants him to lay hands on them, and they're putting their hands up like this. And he's going around and he's laying hands, and when he lays hands on people, they're falling out. Like just falling out, like just passing out. And I remember thinking, like, this is craziness. Like, I cannot believe I came to this dang church. Like, I need answers. I need to understand why you saved me. I need to understand, are you real? Is this the right religion? I have so many questions, and this man brought me to a dang spectacle. And so the pastor's laying hands, and I'm noticing that before he's not just going in like in a line, right? He's laying hands, and then he goes up to like as if he's talking to God, like, who should I go to next? And he may be right here going to this person, but then go way over here to this person afterwards. And I'm thinking, this man is putting in a lot of work to really do this. And these people, they out here doing this. Are they getting paid? I promise you, these are all of the thoughts. I'm even cursing in my head. I'm not going to even lie to y'all. I'm saying curse words and everything. And then this man stops, the pastor stops, and he's talking to God, like, who should I go to next? And he starts walking down the aisle. And I'm thinking, where is he going? Like, the people that want to have his hand laid on their head to put on the show is at the altar. Like, where are you going, sir? And he starts to walk down the aisle, and then I start thinking, like, I know he ain't coming to me. Like, I know he ain't coming to me. And so I said, okay, Crystal, if this man comes to you, you will not play these games. Like, I'm not about playing in church. So yeah, if he puts his hand on me, I'm gonna just stand there. I'm gonna look at him, and that's gonna be that. And so he comes down, he goes into the pew in front of me. You know, I have my hands up because I was worshiping. This is all worship music is going on. Even though, let me not say I'm worshiping. That's a dang lie, girl. I'm sitting there with my hands up talking mess about everybody in my head. Okay? Ain't no worship going on. And next thing I know, he puts his hand on my head. And I will say this. To this day, I don't know if something left my body or if something came in. But what I will tell you, it knocked me off of my feet. It made the back of my knees go in. Like they just caved in. Like the pressure out or in they gave out. And someone caught me because I was in a pew. I could have hit my head. Someone caught me. And then they laid me on the floor. Like they just laid me. He kept going to, do hands. But before he walked away, he looked down and he said, from this moment forward, you will believe. And so that really starts me on my journey with God in regards to building a relationship. And so with that, your girl got baptized. I got a new Bible, a study Bible, and I really wanted to learn and dissect and get the history because remember, I had all these questions. I started to read my Bible. I will say that I definitely got on the path to becoming a better version of myself. I will not sit here and lie to you. I was definitely still sinning. Was it as bad as it was when I was on campus? And no, not at all. Now that I was walking my walk, I was an usher. I'm doing all the things in a church, right? It's definitely more contained. but it's still there. That need to be wanted is still there. That question, why did you save me, is still there. But I believe that I can find it in his word, because for sure now I know he's real. And so I do this over the next couple of years. And then I meet my son's father at church. He tells me that God told him to marry me. Me being young, I was early 20, 21, 22, very young. He tells me God told him to marry me. I don't ask God. I don't pray about it. I literally say, okay. You know, I take his number. We talk on the phone. We start to go out. Next thing you know, I'm over there playing house. We're shacking up. He tells me he's moving to Texas to better his life. It's more affordable. And he wants me to come with him because he wants to marry me. And so I say, okay, I will leave everything here that I have, a job, car, all gone, and I'll come. He said, I'll go out there first and you come like a month later. A month goes by, he sends for me to come. He gives me enough money to get on the bus, a Greyhound. Yep, he puts me on a Greyhound and I go. I don't ask no questions. I don't say why I'm not going on a flight. I get my happy butt on that bus, and I'm on that bus with no AC. And yeah, I leave everything that I know to go. I get out there, and immediately when I get out there, I realize it's a mistake. He's already cheating. Like in that month that we didn't see each other, he's having a phone relationship with some girl back in California. We move in together out there, and I'm trying to make it work. I don't want to be I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be the one to go back and say I messed up. So I'm trying to make it work. We move in together. We're playing house. We are talking about marriage and so forth. And I get pregnant. I'm on birth control because I never wanted children. After being raised with an aunt who really didn't want me there, and a mom who had no maternal instincts. Like my mom didn't tell me she loved me until I was like 21 years old. So children, I saw in my mind what children do to people. And I just didn't believe that children should be treated the way that I was treated. And because I was raised by my mom, in my mind, I'm going to be just like that. So because that's all I know. I don't even know how to do anything different. And I don't want to learn how to do anything different. That's a burden. I took on all of that. And I'm like, so I don't want it. So here I am now considering an abortion. And I'm considering it because I'm in my head thinking, I don't want children. I don't want to be a bad mom. I don't want to sacrifice. I was on birth control. Like, how could this have happened? But at the same time, I don't believe in killing kids. Even though I don't want children, I love children. Like, I was playing with my little cousins and so forth. My nephew was always with me. I love kids, but I don't want my own. And so after I find out that I'm pregnant, I also find out that he's cheating with a whole nother person. And this one is actually in Texas, and they have a whole relationship going and everything. So I make up in my mind, I'm not going to go back to California. I'm just going to move out. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to move out. And that way he can help me raise the baby. He can be in the baby's life. And he tells me to go back home. He does not want me to stay in Texas. He wants me to leave and go back home. He does not want me. That he lied, that God never told him I was his wife. He just said it to have sex with me and get me to move out there with him. And that he didn't want to be in my life, and that that no other man would want me now that I have children. And as small as that comment was, it was so huge, Because remember, I'm only here because I want to be wanted. I'm only trying to make it work with the cheater because I want to be wanted. And so I'm devastated. I'm devastated and I'm mad, and I'm asking God, like, how could this have happened? How could you have let this happen to me? Mind you, this was me asking then. Now I'm looking back like, girl, you was out of the whole will of God. Like, you was doing your own thing. How are you gonna blame God? Girl, okay, but you can see it in hindsight, right? But in the moment, how could you let this happen to me, God? And so I have to go back home. He's not paying. He kicked out. You got to go, girl. So I get a little job to save up some money to go back. So I have enough for a bus ticket. And I decide I'm going to keep the baby, that I'm not going to get an abortion, and that I am going to be the best mom possible, that I'm going to do everything I can do to make sure that I honor pretty much God's wishes. Like, I felt as if God trusted me enough with a soul, and I could not mess it up. I knew what bad parenting did to me. I could not be guilty of doing that to a child. So I go back home. I have depression. I am suffering horribly from depression because I have to give up my life. You see the life that you want, and you just never expect it not to turn out that way. And the life I wanted did not include kids. So I'm like, not only do I have to do something I don't want to do, but I have to do it with the best of my ability. I have to show up every day happy and put on a smile and give it my all and pretty much die to myself so that I can be a great parent. Selfless, right? And so I go through the whole process. I give birth and all that alone, I have my god sister who's there in the room with me, but the son's father, there's nothing there. When he does turn, I think about 2, he wants a relationship, and so my son starts to go in the summertime, but no financial support. And I did put child support in place, but just evaded the system. It was off and on. I'll get child support for 3 months and then not get it for 2 years, get it for 6, and then I get it for 3 more years. So just very inconsistent. So I'm left raising this child on my own. And so I have so much anger and resentment, and I still want to be wanted, and I still want to know, why did you save me? But because I want to be wanted and I have that seed planted that no man will want me, I decide to get into a lesbian relationship. I figured if I date a woman, I will finally be wanted, because I felt as if I dated a guy, they'll just want me for sex. I wanted someone to finally just love me. And so I felt like dating a woman would do that. So I get into a lesbian relationship. She moves in with me. I do have rules though. No affection in front of my son. My son he's 2 when I meet her. No affection whatsoever. We do sleep in the same bed, but he can never see us hold hand, kiss, any of that, because I don't want to mess up his life. Even though I feel like mine is already messed up, and God obviously at this point in my mind doesn't love me, didn't prevent any of this from happening. So, hey, I'm down the drain already, but I can't fathom showcasing something I know the Bible says is wrong to him. So this goes on for 3 years. 3 years. By year 1 and 2, year 1, I stopped. I'm not going to church, nothing like that. I am doing the whole new age thing. We're spiritual. She's spiritual. She doesn't go to church. Mind you, I know God is real, but I'm like, you know what, God, I'm gonna do this over here, because even though you are real, dealing with you, I still feel like I'm not wanted. Over here, I feel wanted. And if I have to date a woman to get the whole wanted thing satisfied, I'll do that. So year 1 is just new age learning, new age beliefs. And then going into year 2, I'm starting to feel that knock. And I see my son growing. He's 3. And I start to feel like, again, I am a steward of his soul. He needs the best from me, even though I'm depressed. Remember, I'm still depressed, but I have to give him the best. And so he needs to be in someone's church. So I asked her, like, do you want to go to church? Yada, yada. She said she'll go here and there, but it's not her thing. And I'm like, okay, if it's not for me, I at least got to take him. So I find a church home and I start to go every Sunday. And I do that for our second year of our relationship. I was in church. Going into year 3, she tells me that she's not in love with me. She's never even wanted to date a person that had kids. She's just putting up with me. That she's embarrassed to even be out in public with me because I've gained so much weight. And so now I'm back to the hurt I felt with my son's father. Like, it never really went away. I just covered it up. It's like the Band-Aids now just ripped off. And God is pretty much showing me, I don't care who it is. If it's not a relationship that I've sent you, you're always going to still feel wanted. And so I'm in love with the idea of her loving me, but she doesn't clearly. And so I go to God one day and I'm just devastated. And I'm like, God, I just want to be loved. Like, why is that so hard for you? Like, this is how I talk to him. These are real conversations. Like, why is that so hard for you? You're the Almighty God. You keep me alive. For what? Why am I here? To not feel wanted? To be mistreated? To have a freaking kid that I don't even want? These are all the thoughts and conversations I'm having with him on that day. And it was clear as day. And I said, God, I just want a better life, and I want someone who wants me. And I want to be wanted and loved unconditionally. And clear as day, he said, I gave you that already, though. Your son, he loves you unconditionally. And yet you can't accept his love, but you want me to give you the love of a man? But you can't even be okay with the love that you get unconditionally from a kid who does with you every single day. And it just blew me away. And I said, okay, God. So a couple of weeks and months go by. We're going to church. And I'm falling in love with my son. I'm falling in love with being a parent. I'm not just doing it to be a good parent now. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I want to be an amazing mom. And I'm loving every bit of growing together with this guy, little guy. And so playing with him one day and just watching him play. And I said, God, I just want to give him the best. I want to give him the best life possible. And it's clear as day. And God says, give me your life then. Give me your life, and I'll give me your life, and he will have the best life possible. And that was it. I told her that we had to end the relationship, that I was breaking up with her. And I told God that I was going to trust him to send me someone who would love me unconditionally, the way my son loves me and the way that he loves me. And I left. I moved to a different, like Orange County, and I got a different job, and my life literally went uphill. I got a higher paying job. I got 2 higher paying jobs back to back. I started my business, right? I'm killing it as a mom, like killing it, okay? And I've joined a new church. I have a church home. My son and I go. I'm a Sunday school teacher. Like, your girl is out here doing the thing. I fully committed to giving God my life, to give him a better life, that I need more money. And so I said, well, I'm going to start businesses, God. I want to start businesses. Is that okay? Can I start a business? And so as I'm walking through and praying through this thing through and trying to just ask for vision and discernment, and it's coming to me piece by piece throughout the weeks, I hear God tell me that he wants me to build a business for him. And I'm like, what kind of business do you want? He said, I want you to build a blog, and I want you to serve my people. I want you to bring them to me. And I was like, okay, I could do that. So I built my fitness business, and it does amazing, right? Well, the first year I made $14,000. And I'm building my fitness business. And right before the end of the year, I start launching. It's called the CW platform. Now, this is supposed to be a coaching business that's going to be faith-based to tie in God. And yeah, it's all business. The fitness business is business. The business is business. And your girl is in year 2. And I'm killing it. I made $139,000 my second year. And, I'm putting up my Christian posts. I put a prayer up here and there. I tweet a good biblical scripture. And in my mind, that's sufficient. And so we go into year 3. Year 3, I kill it. And I make over $500,000. My son, that good life, that blessed life, everything that I prayed for him, I'm giving it to him, financially at least, right? I'm a great mom. I'm killing it financially. And I have also met my husband at this point, or my boyfriend. That turns into my husband. He proposes, and I finally feel wanted. And that's a whole nother story, because your girl did the whole celibacy thing. God had told me, if you're going to date this man, you got to tell him you're celibate. He has to wait. And it was a long, that's a whole nother long battle. We're going to get into that one day. But meet him and everything goes amazing. He proposes and, we're planning a marriage and you name it. So that's there, right? That hole that was once there is definitely filled. From my son to falling in love with God and his will for me and my husband. It's just, when I met my husband, I no longer wanted to be wanted. That was one of the best things that I can say. Now I'm just running these businesses. And like I said, they're doing amazing. And I had my most amazing year. I made over $500,000. And yet I felt dead inside. It was horrible. And so coming to the tail end of that 3rd year, I was just on my knees and I was praying. I said, God, what is this? How can I be at my best? I have the most amazing husband. I have a great son. I am killing it financially. Like no one in my family. I come from poverty. Why do I feel like this? What is this? I felt ungrateful. Like, why do I feel ungrateful? Because I feel like I should be excited and ecstatic, and I wasn't. And it was because I, again, was out of the will of God. And he told me to make sure I built a Christian-filled business that directed people back to him. And I have a fitness business and a business. And they just making me money. I used my 3rd year to just chase the dollar. I told my friends in 2019, we had like a little spa day, that I was going to create this blog. Never started it. Here we are, 2022. The blog does exist. I still haven't uploaded everything I needed to do yet. It'll definitely be up in the next month or 2. But why did it take so long? I knew since 2019 what I was supposed to do. Technically, it's probably not going to be fully where it needs to be until 2023. And last year really just showed me that you can make all the money in the world, but if you are not living out the will of my life, the will that I have for your life, you're not going to be happy. I'm never going to be fulfilled unless I'm doing what God wants me to do. And so at this point, he's told me to walk away from the businesses, that I need to focus on building and advancing his kingdom. And I am to do that by serving his people. That I am to take all of my gifts, everything that I've learned in this online business stream. I need to pretty much create a YouTube, which is what I've done. I need to create a blog, which will be coming. I need to reach people and give them everything that I've learned for as little as possible, for as little amount as possible, or for free. And that's where YouTube comes in. And that's why you guys always say, oh my God, this is such amazing content. I have to give it to you this way. This is what God told me to do. And my husband, he's been so amazing during this time, as you guys can imagine, going from $63,000 months to I think one couple of months ago, we had a $6,000 month. Like UGC's keeping us afloat. Consultations, different things that I sell for UGC. YouTube now is a new stream. And I have to trust that God has a plan for my life. That even though financially my living situation is drastically different, that at the end of the day, He's in control. And the Bible says that He has his plans. He has plans to prosper me and not harm me. And I'll tell you this, even though I don't even have a fraction, even though I'm not making a fraction of what I made last year, I feel so good inside. I'm definitely frustrated most days because I can't work on as my content as I would like to, because I have to make sure I'm working and making sure I'm still bringing in income and stuff, whether that's gigs and so forth. But I will say that I'm happy. My marriage is going amazing. Like, that's how you know God is in it. When for the finances to drastically change, and it's like I'm falling in love with my husband even more and more. I'm killing it in motherhood, like killing it. And I want more children. I want to start over and be a mom to more babies. I would love to have 3 more. My husband says 1, so we're going to settle on 2. But life is truly going up and up, and it's not attached to money. It's attached to transforming other women's lives so that they get to know God too, so that they get to build a relationship with Him, so that they get to see what it looks like when you step out on faith and just trust Him completely. Am I scared? Some days, yes. Do I get frustrated? 1,000%, especially when I can't go buy some Balenciagas, and I can't book my cruise, and I can't go on this trip. I got a budget. Every day I talk to my friends, she's like, how's it going? I said, girl, it's ghetto. Budgeting is ghetto. The Lord, this is ghetto, God. But I get up every day. I do it with a willing heart. I think the hardest thing is knowing that my stores are still up. My storefronts are still up. I just don't work them. So if people want to buy from my businesses, they can buy. I still get sales. Nothing crazy, but I still get sales. The part that's hard is when financially I have to budget for something and I don't have enough money, having to say, well, I got to wait until I save up, versus me fighting the urge to turn back on that business and do a promotional post and throw an ad at it and just make the $2,000 in a day. God says, no, you will sit and wait for me. So I have to wait. If I can't afford something, I don't get to just charge it away. I have to save. I have to budget. And it's a humbling process. I feel like my relationship with God has just gotten only deeper. And I will also tell you that after last year, going into this year, telling God yes, giving Him my yes to finally build out His businesses, or finally build out His business, which is where the newsletter will go into. The newsletter is definitely free, but eventually that will turn into a membership program there. He gave me the answer I have been seeking this entire time. Why He kept me alive. I didn't want to cry. Jesus. Sorry. He said that He kept me alive. He said that He kept me alive to do great things, to advance His kingdom, to save lives, to help lives come to Him. And not just do it any old-fashioned way, but only the way that I could, by serving Him and teaching others to serve Him as well, and teaching women to live 100% in God's will. And that's what I'm doing every day. I have no idea where He's taking me. I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea what my income is going to be. But I will tell you this, on this journey, I will continue to show up. I will continue to reach for each and every one of you and bring you into His flock and His fold. And I will continue to teach you everything that I know for as low as possible, hopefully as free as possible. I hope this testimony has been a blessing to someone. I hope this helps you guys understand why I've chosen to follow Jesus Christ and give up everything that I've built for him. And I hope that one day when I sit back and I watch this video, I just smile and I tell myself that I'm proud. I know that it's hard, that you have to sacrifice every single day. There's days I have to look at my son and tell him we can't get that right now. And he's been going almost 3 years with all this extra income, and now he too has to sacrifice. I pray that when I look at this video in years to come and I've saved hundreds of thousands of souls and I brought them to God, I sit back and I tell myself, thank you, that I'm proud of you for following God, that you stopped chasing money and you started chasing your purpose. You deserve everything that God has for you. Continue to follow his word. Remember this moment, Crystal. Remember that even though it was hard, you stayed the course. Continue to seek his word. Continue to lean into it. And continue to give. Your greatest gift is service. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope this was a blessing. May the Lord bless and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And if you haven't joined my newsletter to become more intentional and build your relationship with God, it'll be linked below. I hope to see you on the next newsletter.